Hi, this is Brendan from Watto Training, and in this trainer tutorial we look at the three-point turn for C-Class drivers in Queensland, also known as the turnaround manoeuvre. As part of the driving test, the learner will be required to do at least two of the following manoeuvres: U-turn, hill start, reverse park, reversing exercise, turnaround, automatic gear change. At least one of the manoeuvres will contain a reversing component. The learner will be assessed on their ability to manoeuvre the vehicle legally, safely, efficiently, and accurately. Turnarounds are used when a road is not wide enough to do a U-turn. Consider your teaching process. 1. Create a clear learning program. Make the material matter. Deliver the session with purpose and passion. Have a learner-centered focus. Reinforce with repetition and feedback. Consider your teaching strategy. Keep it simple and focus on what matters. Don't let yourself be overwhelmed. Confucius. Be concise. To be concise means the instructor presents the information clearly and as few words as possible without skimping on the content. Make every word count. Be clear. To be clear means the instructor doesn't complicate the message. Break the information down into bite-sized pieces. Don't try to achieve too much too soon. Be patient, progress at the rate the learner can manage. Am I in a safe location? Choose somewhere safe, legal, and convenient. Do not perform the manoeuvre where your vehicle will make it awkward for other road users to pass. Do not perform the manoeuvre on a hill or bend. Do not perform the manoeuvre too close to a T-section or crossroad. You don't want to grind your wheels into a drain or knock over a wheelie bin. Make sure the student is correctly set up in the driver's seat before driving and conducting manoeuvres. Make sure the student's mirrors are correctly set up. Phase 1, pull over, mirror, indicator, mirror and shoulder, and park next to the curb in a safe and legal position. Automatic vehicles, brake and stop, apply the park brake and select park. Manual vehicles, brake, clutch in and stop, apply the handbrake, select neutral, foot off clutch. Conduct a 6-point check around the vehicle to make sure it's all clear 360 degrees around the vehicle. That is, to the front, to the back, left side mirror, right shoulder check and left shoulder check. Be aware of your blind spots such as window pillars, door pillars and the rear panel. Keep your eyes on the move throughout the manoeuvre. Use your peripheral vision. The peripheral vision is a part of your vision that occurs outside the very center of your gaze. Q-safe requirements for the manoeuvre. The learner is required to conduct the manoeuvre on a street 6 meters to 8 meters wide. Turn the vehicle around between the curbs using forward and reverse gears with a minimum number of attempts. The learner should not touch the curbs during the manoeuvre. The driving examiner will take into consideration the constraints of the street width and the turning circle of the test vehicle. However, it should not require more than 4 direction changes to complete the turnaround manoeuvre, that is, more than 5 points to the turn. The examiner will advise the learner to undertake the manoeuvre within the confines of the roadway. Driveways will not be used for this purpose. Examiner wording, turnaround. This is a sample of what the learner would expect an examiner to say prior to the manoeuvre. In preparation for a turnaround manoeuvre, please pull up alongside the curb of the road just ahead. Thank you. Now turn the vehicle around to face the opposite direction between and without touching the curbs. Please use forward and reverse gears. Key instructions for the manoeuvre. Starting position and curb departure. Mirror, indicator right, 5 seconds notice, shoulder check, first gear or drive, and keep scanning. Step 1. Move the car very slowly, full lock to the right, do not hit the curb. You can use hand over hand or pull-push steering. Just before the car reaches the right side curb, turn the steering wheel quickly to the left. This will put the front wheels in the direction necessary for the next move. Stop the car before the front wheels touch the curb, apply the handbrake if necessary, and engage reverse gear. Take into account the camber of the road. Keep your right foot on the brake, push the clutch in with your left foot and select reverse gear or select reverse in the automatic. After checking for other road users, move the car backwards with the steering on full lock. Look out the back of the vehicle over your shoulder. Then, whilst moving, look up and down straight, then return back to looking out the back window. Before the car reaches the left curb, turn the steering wheel back to the right and stop before touching the curb. This will place the front wheels in the position required to drive off. Step 3. Apply the handbrake if necessary, then select first gear or D if in automatic, and after having checked that it is safe to do so, move off. Some trainers teach their students to signal right for step 3. This is not a mandatory requirement. However, if you wish to instruct this, please confirm that it is okay with your local examiner first. Let's walk through the maneuver. So here's our starting position with the little black gets. Right indicator would be on, 360-degree checks around the vehicle. The driver moves off slowly and moves the steering wheel to full lock to the right. Again, checking up the road that it's all clear, starting to move over to the far side of the road, and as they get closer, you'll notice that the front right steer tyres will start to turn back to the left. The driver stops, keeping on scanning, and selects reverse gear. Then, looking over their left shoulder, starts to move backwards, then up and down the road both ways, and reverses back towards the curb, then stops and selects drive, scan, and then off they move and up the road. Key points to note in the Q-Safe assessment for the maneuver. In the Q-Safe test, the learner should scan, observe, and monitor the driving environment in every direction as appropriate to the task. Observation. Nil observation to the rear when reversing is a critical driving error in the test. The critical driving error is to be marked only when the learner fails to physically look at any time to the rear when reversing. The applicant must apply all-round observation, which includes turning the head to the rear where practical, given the vehicle design, auxiliary equipment, and the applicant's physical ability. If you're not sure what a critical driving error is a driving error that compromises the safety of any road user or indicates an inappropriate level of skill or ability. Mirrors. In the Q-Safe test, the learner should use the rear vision mirrors on the approach to any hazard or potential hazard. Steering. In the Q-Safe test, the learner should steer a safe and steady course and maintain the correct course in a manner that is appropriate for the road and driving conditions. Avoid palming the steering wheel. Palming is where you press your right palm onto the wheel and turn it round and round. Avoid dry steering during the maneuver. Dry steering is when the learner turns the steering wheel of the car while the vehicle is stationary. Dry steering is not recommended as it is potentially damaging to front tyres and the car. Gears. In the Q-Safe test, the learner should demonstrate correct usage of all the gears appropriate for speed, vehicle, and driving conditions. Clutch. In the Q-Safe test, the learner should control the clutch in a manner that produces a smooth take-up of power to the driving wheels to assist the changing of gears. The student will receive a non-critical driving error during the test if they excessively and continuously ride the clutch, including during low-speed maneuvers, rest foot on the clutch when not being operated for more than 15 seconds, releases the clutch too quickly, coasts with clutch depressed prior to or during a turn, coasts with clutch depressed for between 3 to 5 seconds, fails to use the clutch in an appropriate manner to maintain control at low speeds, for example, during heavy slow-moving traffic and reversing maneuvers, operates the clutch incorrectly. Page 45 of the Q-Safe Policies and Procedures Manual states, that appropriate clutch control will be determined by the driving conditions at the time. For example, for low-speed, tight cornering on the reverse park manoeuvre, the driver may need to feather the clutch to maintain good control. For low-speed driving with less manoeuvring, such as slow-moving traffic or straight reverse, it may be appropriate to fully release the clutch. What is a non-critical driving error? This is a driving error that does not by itself compromise safety to road users or the safe operation of the vehicle. Stalling. In the Q-Safe test, the learner should control the vehicle to prevent unnecessary stalling. The student will receive a non-critical driving error during the test if they stall the vehicle for any reason, for example, poor clutch control, poor use of handbrake, or poor accelerator control. Judgment. The driver must judge and utilize a safe gap in traffic when conducting the maneuver and without causing other road users to take evasive action. Vehicle X must give way to Vehicle Z before commencing the maneuver. Vehicle X must give way to Vehicle Z before commencing the maneuver in this diagram as well. Non-critical driving errors. Unnecessarily requiring more than 4 direction changes to complete the maneuver, more than 5 points to the turn. Non-critical driving error. The vehicle rolling up an angle curb without mounting it. General critical driving error. The student will be unsuccessful in their driving test if the test vehicle strikes another object, for example, vehicle, power pole, or pedestrian, resulting in potential or actual damage or injury. This includes mounting the curb with one or more wheel. Intervention by examiner. The student will be unsuccessful in their driving test if the examiner is required to intervene either verbally or physically to prevent an accident, to prevent a dangerous situation occurring, for example, inadequate vehicle control that could compromise safety, to help the student through any part of the test because of their inability, that is, when it becomes necessary because the safety or inadequate time to complete the test. Questions to ask yourself when assessing an applicant's performance on the turnaround maneuver. How was the applicant's pullover and park technique? How was the applicant's starting position? Did the applicant conduct 6-point checks? Did the applicant signal for 5 seconds prior to curb departure? Did the applicant give way if and when necessary during the maneuver? How was the applicant's clutch control? How was the applicant's positioning in relation to the curbs? How was the applicant's speed control during the maneuver? How was the applicant's steering technique during the maneuver? Did the applicant conduct correct mirror checks, scans, and shoulder checks? How was the applicant's departure from the situation? Thanks for watching. This has been Brendan from Watto Training.